and try and protect what you can, given the situations, and that's the kind of stuff that will happen. It's just when it does, and how can we mitigate that as in every opportunity we have to minimize those catastrophic situations where essentially you're just hunkered down like you would in a tornado and just save yourself.
I have one question I would like to have answered publicly. If a person goes in the forest, whether they're camping or whatever, and they build a campfire or whatever, they cause a fire in the forest, it gets away, it causes a massive forest fire. That person will be charged, fined, something. So if you are doing a controlled burn and it gets away and it gets private property, do you reimburse the property owners? Who is responsible for that? Do you pay the property owners? Will you all be charged?
So there is actually a process. It's a tort claims process where people put forth their claims and try and recoup the value of lost property in the event of those kinds of situations. There is a process for that. I ultimately am not the individual that ends up judging who gets paid and who doesn't get paid and how much and that kind of thing. That actually goes through an adjudication process for that to happen. But if there's negligence involved there, then government's on the hook, and that's tends to be the situation in wildfire situations. Again, you have to tie it back to negligence, culpability, who did what and when. Did you have a good plan? Did you follow that good plan? Did you deviate from that plan or not? All of those questions get asked and answered if something gets out.
So if I start a fire in the forest and it's an accident, it wasn't negligence, it was just an accident, I will not be charged. I will not be responsible. I mean, what puts the federal government above the law that they want to hold the people to?
That's a good question.
It is a very good question.
If we've had those situations, a hunter, out your Barbary sheep hunt on Benson Ridge, and started a fire, got loose in the grass.
And there have been people who have actually been sentenced to prison for such things, and even more recently, when there were firefighter fatalities as a result of that fire that was caused by a person, by an individual, they were charged with murder.
Oh, I know, but why? That's people, but if the federal government does it, why are they not held to the same standard the people?
I never said that. I never said that. If there's culpability, if there's negligence involved with something like that, it's outside the scope of what you should be doing, you're on the same level as anybody else. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not part of that. Folks that end up ultimately adjudicating and judging who gets what, who's found at fault for any of those situations. Even if it's the abandoned campfire that the guy comes in and says, I forgot it, and it burned up the place. So, in all honesty, most of the time I don't know. There are people that get charged with that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, there's payments involved. But
Well, like the Hammonds in Oregon, they were doing a backburn on their private property. It got off their property onto quote-unquote federal land. They're in jail. It burned 140 acres. And it was during a fire season when a fire was coming towards their house, and they were You know, so, and it was an accident.
I can't get into commenting that. I don't know the situation to have any kind of educated idea of what went right or wrong in that situation.
Thank you.
You know, the one thing to remind folks of is that importance of the Defensible Space campaign. And you know, that was launched in the early 90s. And in the state of New Mexico, for example, Ruidoso was identified in 1997 as a community at highest risk to wildfire. And so over the course of 15 years, this Defensible Space campaign had launched, and some people were taking action to create that Defensible Space for our homes. And some people, for whatever reason, chose not to. So those became the more susceptible homes. If they're not treated, and they have that fuel load that can bring that fire right up to their home, whether it starts on private land or forest land or any other federal agency land, that risk remains.
Well, I understand that. I do understand that. But I just want to know if the Forest Service accidentally burns someone home, why are they not as responsible as if I accidentally start a fire and burn forest?
But I think that would be up to the courts. I think that would be up to a judge. That would be a lawsuit, like you were saying, a tort claim. Those, and if you see, like the Walla fire, for instance, that started accidentally. Now those guys were grilled every which way, but it turned out to be that it was not intentional. So, but other folks that have intentionally set fires are set. That's a different story. Well, and so even with the Forest Service, that's the same thing. It's the intent. They're not intending to harm anything. They're using their best management skills, the best information they have in a very risky, high-risk situation. That knowing that they are in charge of putting that fire out. That is just part of their job. If it's on federal land, now if it's on a different jurisdiction, that's a different story. It depends on the jurisdiction. But if it's on federal land, Forest Service jurisdiction, they're charged with managing that fire in whatever the best way they deem is the best way to do it. So there's never a malicious intent there to burn people's homes down. Whereas like arson, I mean, that's just the difference. I think
there's a lot of times people in the forest, it's not a malicious intent to cause a fire.
But they are not made to pay for it. If you have a campfire, negligence is one thing, arson's another. If a campfire, if people don't fully put out a campfire, let's say, and they pour water on it, and they don't realize there's coals there, that happens a lot. They go away, drive home, the wind kicks up, and that thing blows embers everywhere. It's a bad season, which, if there's campfires still allowed, sometimes it's on the edge of restrictions that they're going to disallow those campfires. They thought they put it out. They thought they did the rest, and so they're not going to be. They are going to. If they find them, yes, they're going to answer. They're going to be. It's going to be investigated, and all of that. And that's what Travis was saying. The same thing with the Forest Service. They're going to do an investigation of what happened. Was the Forest Service? They're probably held to a higher standard because of their knowledge and because of their responsibility for that. So they're going to be held to a higher, I'm not saying, I can't say what the judge would do, so what I'm saying is that, they're going to say, what was your plan in place? Just like Travis was saying, they're going to go through that whole drill. And ultimately, it's not going to be anybody locally. It's just going to determine we're talking legal issues there. So.
And you're talking federal court with the federal judge, the federal prosecutor.
Right, there's all, I don't know all the intricacies of that, but I think that's more what you're saying. I don't think that the government doesn't get off the hook. I think negligence, I think the difference is negligence and intent, is the intent.
And is the forest considered federal land?
Is one elevation.
It's federally managed land.
You called it federal land.
Federally managed. Yes, public lands managed by the federal government.
Okay, because there's nothing in the Constitution the Constitution says 10 square miles plus ports and other municipal buildings. The federal government is not constitutionally, does not have the constitutional authority, but all of it.
No, it's public land. No, the people, and it's managed. This is like state forestry having jurisdiction to fight fire on private land. Of course, they don't know anything about that. That's just their area of jurisdiction for fire.
It really should not be federal management anyway, it should all be under.
Well, that's a political
Yes, it is.
opinion. I know.
It is a political debate.
So.